Good morning, dear students. Let us begin with the first kingdom under the heading Monera. In previous session, I introduced Aristotle's classification. It is based on natural system, where he classified plants as trees, shrubs and herbs, and animals with red blood cells and without red blood cells. Later, Carl Linnaeus introduced kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia. The drawback of this particular classification was fungi, which were saprotrophic and heterotrophic. Very difficult to assign whether in Plantae or Animalia. So because of some controversies, this system was not widely accepted. In 1969, Robert Whittaker followed 5 criteria: cell structure, thallus organization, mode of nutrition, types of reproduction, and phylogeny. And he was a successful person who introduced hundreds of organisms into 5 kingdoms. Today, I'll brief you about kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera is the first group. It includes prokaryotes. Now, what exactly prokaryotes? Imagine the cell structure. Hope you know about the cell, right? Imagine. Shape may be whatever. The cell wall, outermost layer for protection. Inner to cell wall, the cell membrane. Inner to cell membrane, there is a protoplast. Here, genetic material, that is chromatin fibers, we also call it as chromosomes. They are not protected by nuclear membrane. Membrane-bound cell organelles are totally absent. Only ribosome is found in the cell, and that too 70S. There is no proper organization. Single cell is performing all functions. This kind of cell we call prokaryote. Meaning of prokaryote, before formation of proper nucleus. So these organisms who are prokaryotic, always unicellular in appearance. They are cosmopolitan in distribution. They are found in the air, they are found in the soil, they are also live in water. They are living everywhere. These are microscopic. We are unable to see them by our naked eyes. We need high power of resolution in the lens to magnify them. Then only we can study. As they are unicellular, some have pigment system, some without pigments. Now, pigment means like a chlorophyll in the plant. So they have bacteriochlorophyll in some, not in all. So those who have pigment, they can prepare their own food. So they are autotrophic. Those who don't have pigment, they are heterotrophic. And most of them, they are feeding on the dead mass or biomass. And they will help in decomposition. So naturally we call them as saprotrophs. So this is the kingdom where all 3 types of nutritions we observe. The organism is unicellular. At maturity means the cell attains full size and shape and just divide to give 2 progenies. No death in these organisms. It is asexual reproduction. We call fission. Imagine a cell and protrusion occurring on the surface. It gives rise a bud-like structure. Nourishment is supplied by the parent and that new cell separates. This is budding process. It is a kind of asexual reproduction. Some organisms in this kingdom, to come close, they share their genetic material. This is mimicking sexual reproduction. Maybe because of this exchange of genetic material, the further progeny can survive better. So these organisms are usually called as immortal. No death for these organisms because When they mature, they just divide or they produce the buds. Coming to the outermost protective layer, cell wall. This cell wall is made up of a special compound known as peptidoglycan. It is also called as murine or muramic acid. Only ribosomes are found. It is 70S. Now what this 70S and all, I will explain in the topic cell structure and function, not now. You have to just remember name of the organelle and its configuration, 70S. So list all features in kingdom Monera. Monerans, the organisms which belongs to this kingdom, are called monerans. Monerans are prokaryotic. Try to recall why I said prokaryote. No nuclear membrane. Genetic material is naked. No membrane bound structures. Second feature, unicellular. Recall why we have to say unicellular. These organisms represented by single cell. Third feature, cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, murine or muramic acid. It is a special kind of compound present only in monerans. This is a neat point. Then, absence of nuclear membrane around genetic material. This kind of nucleus we call incipient nucleus. With nuclear membrane we call true nucleus. So here incipient nucleus is found. Only ribosome, that too 70S, necessary for protein synthesis, are found in these cells. I told you mode of nutrition. Some are autotrophic, some are heterotrophic, some are saprotrophic. Further, most of them, they undergo fission. Few show budding. They also have ability to regenerate. They also develop endospore, means if adverse condition is there, suddenly temperature increasing, suddenly rain begins, water is flowing, floods, and these tiny organisms unable to sustain in these adverse conditions, what they do? They develop thick wall around their body. This is called cyst formation. And these bodies will remain under that cyst. This is endospore. And when favorable condition commence, the cyst wall will break and organism start growing, start reproducing by normal fission. This is how they struggle very hard to fight with negative conditions. They may undergo sexual reproduction by exchanging the genetic material, and the mode of sexual reproduction we call conjugation. Some may show transformation, some may show transduction. This I'll explain you slowly. When that particular concept comes, I will clarify your doubts. Hope characters of Monera is clear. Now, after learning each kingdom, we need to classify. Already you have learned in taxonomic categories that kingdom divided into divisions. So here, kingdom Monera includes 2 divisions. As per your textbook, I am telling. The first division is Eubacteria. Second division is Cyanobacteria. There's one more division I will include now. Actually, 2 groups are made in the textbook, Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Right? To follow more clearly, we can remember first division Archaebacteria, second division Eubacteria. Among them, we can make third group Cyanobacteria. So kingdom Monera classified as Archaebacteria, Eubacteria. Coming to first group Archaebacteria. Archaea means ancient. Means they originated long back, millions years back. They are surviving in adverse climatic conditions where we cannot survive. For example, no oxygen. Will you survive? But Archaebacteria will survive. Imagine you have kept in a salt bag, fully covered by a salt. Will you survive? Impossible. But Archaebacteria can survive. Imagine water is boiling and you have thrown in that water, boiling water. Will you? Impossible, but Archaebacteria can. So what exactly Archaebacteria is having that special thing which will keep them always alive in these adverse conditions? They have special structure of cell membrane. In the cell membrane, they have branched lipid molecules. Because of this, they can easily survive in absence of oxygen. They can survive in salty condition. They are surviving in hot springs. Based on the habitat is living place of an organism. Archaebacteria divided in 3 groups. Methanogens, they are anaerobes. Anaerobe means they can survive in absence of oxygen. Halophiles, they live in salty condition. Thermoacidophiles, they live in hot springs. So under Archaebacteria, we made 3 groups. We can call it as class. Methanogens, halophiles, thermoacidophiles. What is common among 3? They have branched lipids in their cell membrane. They have incipient nucleus. They have 70S type of ribosomes. That's why they belongs to kingdom Monera. There is one smallest entity, Mycoplasma. This Mycoplasma is the smallest organism belongs to kingdom Monera. This Mycoplasma is without cell wall. The funny feature, I am telling exceptions also. When we say there is a cell wall in monerans, but this Mycoplasma is not having cell wall, and it may cause, it is deadly pathogenic. It may cause respiratory problems in human beings. In today's session, I introduced general characteristics of kingdom Monera. In brief, you need to remember prokaryotes, unicellular, incipient nucleus, cell wall with peptidoglycan, nutrition, all 3 types, reproduction, both the types. Divisions are 2, Archaebacteria, Eubacteria. I already told you Archaebacteria, right? With this, I'll complete my session.